Okay, Thursday the 7th of May, and we're exploring equivalent fractions a little bit more. You'll need a pen and a piece of paper. If you can print it off, that's brilliant. If not, you should be able to do it anyway. Just draw it out, and I'm trying to show you on the whiteboard how you would draw it. Good morning, boys and girls. We're going to carry on looking at equivalent fractions today, but we're going to move it, rather than just looking at our bars and trying to spot another fraction that's chopped up differently, that takes up the same amount of space in the bar as the other one. So here we've got 1/4. The 2, because the whole has been divided into 2 equal parts, and I have one of those parts. You can see that on the screen, that sentence, to help us understand. This one, the whole has been divided into 4 equal parts, and I have 2 of them. We can see they take up the same amount of space as a fraction on there. Now, today we're going to use these two, but I'm just going to show you a slightly different way of looking at it. Now, we looked at this before, where we turn our bar into a number line. So here we've got 0, here we've got 1/4, here we've got 2/4, here we've got 3/4, and here we've got 4/4, and we know that that is our whole. That is 1. Okay, that is 1 whole bar. Okay, so we've got that one for that. If I do one for the half below a number line, the whole is the same length. So the whole is the same length, and we know the whole is going to be split up into 2. So I've got 1/2. That's going to be 2/2, which is also the whole. Okay, and that is, as we know, 1. Now today you've got number lines to have a look at. So you've been given some number lines to have a look at, and you've got to spot where's the equivalent fraction. So you're going to have to first of all work out what's the whole been divided into, how many equal parts. You can draw it out just like I've done here in my number line, and then see if you can spot where the equivalent fractions line up. So there and there, my equivalent fractions, they line up. Okay, they take up the same amount of space on the bar. You've got a couple to have a go at, so you'll need to draw out your number lines, unless you've printed it off, and you can have a go at filling it in, and then you'll have to work out where the equivalences are. Now, once I've worked it out, I'm just going to write a real simple number sentence. 1/2 is equal to 2/4, and you can do exactly the same. So 1/2 is equal to 2/4. Right, have a go on the next slide and see how you get on. Here's our do-it questions for people. 2 do-it questions. Remember that stem sentence we've got over on the right-hand side. The whole has been divided into so many parts, equal parts, and I have that many parts. Really useful on this. The whole of this, at the moment, is the number line. It's the whole of the number line, not the whole of the shape like before. Right, boys and girls, on our apply it today, it's a true or false question. And my statement that I'm going to get you to check is equivalent fractions have the same numerator. So the numerator, remember, is the top of the fraction. Do they always have the same numerator? Or do they never have the same numerator? Have a look at the ones you've worked out, see what you can spot, and then see if you can just show this on a bar model or a number line, just so you can explain it to somebody at home. Right, so on the Solve It today, we're looking at different shapes. So I'm going to start off by just showing you the fraction as a bar. There's my whole. It's going to be divided into 2 equal parts, and I'm going to have one of those parts. If I was going to draw an equivalent fraction, I'd have the same size whole, they're the same size, but it would be divided differently. So this one is going to be divided into 4 equal parts, and for it to be an equivalent fraction, it's got to take up the same amount of space, takes up that much space. I can see that that takes 2 of those parts there. Okay. Now, if I was looking at this not on bars in a different type of thing, I'd look at another one. So I'm going to have a go at drawing a circle. Now, we use bars because they're nice and easy to draw and they link nicely to our number lines, which we've done above. Circles, bit trickier. So if I was going to do the top one, I've got my whole, it's a circle. I'm dividing it into 2 equal parts, and then I've got one of those parts. There's my 1/2. Okay, if I was looking at an equivalent fraction of that, I'd draw another circle, try and do it the same size, and then I would have my whole split into 4 equal parts, not into 2, into 4. So drop it into 4 equal parts, and then I would have 2 of those parts just like that. And we can see it takes up the same amount of space on the circle. Okay, depending on the shapes you choose, some are a bit trickier than others. So as well as thinking about getting the equivalent fractions, I want you to see, is it easier with this shape? Is it harder with this shape? And then also have a think, why is it harder? What makes it harder on this shape than other shapes? Try a few shapes. There's some on the screen you can have a little look at, and that for you to have a little play around with and see what you think about if it's easier with different shapes, or why we stick to the bar when we tend to be doing these type of fraction questions. Okay, boys and girls, have a look at the solve it question here. So can you draw another shape that shows equivalent fractions? We've used bars,